time with family, staying active, doing what you love. We understand how important it is to live your best life, even as times are changing. At Holzer, we strive to help every patient achieve their best.
Hello, and thanks for listening. You're tuned in to the Talk of the Town podcast, brought to you by Holzer Health System and the Gwinnett County Chamber of Commerce. I'm Josh Wellington, the Executive Director of the Chamber, and joining me today is the new Business Counselor for Small Development Business Center at the Ohio State University South Centers in Piketon, Ohio, Melanie Sherman. Melanie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me today.
So, new title, long place where you work. So tell people a little bit, for those who are unfamiliar with the OSU South Center, a lot of people I'm sure have driven by it. Like, you see it, and I'll be honest with you, when I first saw it, the only thing that I knew that ever happened there, and this is, over the years, is they raise some fish. Like, there's some ponds there, and I bet you there's some fish in those that they're raising, but there's so much more that goes on in the South Center, and especially with the Small Business Development Center. So tell people a little bit about what you do, and then we'll talk a little bit about how it may help people in our area.
Well, the South Centers is a very interesting place to work for sure, because they do have research for agriculture there, as well as the Small Business Development Center. The Small Business Development Center, I work for the side where we are helping people develop their business and business plans. There's also manufacturing there, and that you can work with and have people help you with your manufacturing business. And they have a business incubator there as well. So you can actually start running your business there at the South Centers. There's some businesses in there now. It's really interesting to go through and see. But my new job is where I will work with individuals and help them do their business plans, maybe help them find funding resources, other sources like marketing help, those types of things that all businesses need.
So before we dive into the business plan part of it, I think a lot of times you'll find like a business owner, like let's say I come up with this great idea. In my mind, it's a great idea. We really need this in our community, and I'm the guy that can do this, but I have to do it on my own because if word gets out, somebody with more finances or somebody who's a little more well connected in the business community might beat me to it. They might take my idea and run, and then I don't have anything. I'm not in it. Your services are completely confidential. They can have the confidence to come to you and give you their idea and work toward the implementation of that idea and turning it into something tangible without the fear that someone else is going to find out about it through the grapevine and beat them to the punch.
That's correct. Yes, all the services are free of charge and completely confidential. We actually have a confidentiality form that would have to be signed, and then we will not share that outside. Unless you would give us permission for marketing purposes. You
talk about, again, it's free of charge. I think a lot of people, when they start a business, they have this plan, an idea. Let's say not even a plan, an idea that they want to start to get the ball moving. Sometimes the cost of getting it started is a little bit scary. Because what you're setting aside for the business, but you have to get there. You have to crawl before you walk, as they say. What kind of services? I know we talked about the business plan, but what are some things that you think maybe people would normally be paying for in this situation that you guys kind of offer for free to get them started?
Well, one of the things some people pay, consultation fees,
right.
Yes, for a lot of things like the business plans, for funding resources, for maybe insurance. You need to look up, find out where your insurance should be if you need to have it. Mm-hmm. Even sometimes there's a checklist that we can go through that tell you what the government or the state requires for you to have to be able to open your business, and we can help you look those things up and find those. We can also help you find if you need to file, like what kind of business, plan or format you have. If you're going to be an LLC or, a sole proprietorship or something like that, we can help with that.
The scariest part of starting a new business is the plan, the business plan. People hear that and it terrifies you, because if you've never done it, just the thought of this, this could determine whether the bank funds me or whatever. You take that and help them to make sure that it's the best that it can possibly be.
That's true. And a lot of people come in and they can tell you about their business, but they don't know how to put it in written word.
Right.
And so that's a skill I definitely have. And I like to sit down with the business and take what they've told me and put that into as many possible words as we can, and make it understand, the banks understand what the plan is, how you have a contingency plan if this would arise. There are things that I didn't even think about until I plan marketing plans a lot, but business plans are a little bit more in depth. Like for COVID, if you'd had a contingency plan, some of these new businesses would have been prepared for that. Of course, you could have been prepared for COVID.
Right.
But there's things like that in the plan. What would you do if you lost your best customer? How would you plan for that?
Is it are your services geared primarily towards startups, or can a business, let's say you have an existing business and you're wanting to expand?
I'm glad you asked me that. Yes, we do help existing businesses as well. Maybe they want to change how they're doing business. Maybe they want to add something. Maybe they want to become e-commerce,
Right.
So those are things that we can also help with.
You have a lot of businesses you see pop up now. They're not the traditional startup. We have phrased it initially as an "oops, I started a business" situation. But I actually heard a line somewhere a couple of days ago, and I thought this is the greatest term for this I've ever heard. And they said, "I turned my hobby into a jobby."
Yeah.
and you have a lot of, somebody will start maybe selling custom tumblers online, or some shirts online, or needle art, or making cutting boards, and they're making them for their friends for $50 a piece, and now they're doing $40,000 a year out of their garage. Have you come across any of those kind of businesses where they're trying to take an online e-commerce business that was maybe started as like a side hustle and now turn it into a brick and mortar? Or are you seeing more with COVID of the traditional, this has always worked, clothing store, hardware store, these things have always worked, so we're going to start this kind of business, as opposed to kind of some of the new stuff?
Well, for me, I've seen mostly, I would say, traditional businesses. There's been a couple of really unique things that hopefully we'll see soon. Confidentiality, can't really release that. But I do see some things growing in our areas, and it'll be neat to see what happens in the future.
So, on top of the business plan, and you and I talked before we came on to record about different things that businesses need, and you guys will point them in the right direction. And again, it's kind of the same thing that we do here on a certain level of, we'll give you your options without the pressure of a sale.
Yes.
You can have someone from radio or insurance or, maybe, I won't say insurance, maybe that's the wrong term, but especially marketing, and different things like that, where they can come in and radio is going to sell you radio, digital is going to sell you digital, or in case one of our members are going to say both, but TV is going to sell you TV, newspaper is the same, billboards the same, and maybe there's things out there like maybe, you see it in your daily life of, I'm on Facebook and I said something or I searched for something and now I got ads everywhere for it. We have people who can tell you how to make that happen for your business.
Correct.
And so they can come and tell you about it, and then at the end of their conversations we say, what do you think? What can we do for you? You and I, especially you in your position, mine a little less so, just because we don't do it for every member, but you are doing it for a lot of the people coming in your door. We're going to tell you what's available. We're going to keep you up to date on all of the latest and the technology and what's available out there, because our members and your resources are telling you what they have to offer. And then we're going to look from an independent standpoint with you and I with marketing backgrounds. We're going to tell you what makes sense to us. if I were in your shoes, this is your budget. This is what you can do. This is where I see the greatest growth potential. You make up your mind, and if you want to do this, then here's the number for this company. Call them. Or here's the number for the newspaper. Call this person. We're going to give you the first and last name of the person that you need to talk to directly, so when you call, you know who to talk to. And when you're going to have a plan as to when you call, you can say, hey, I need to speak to, Bill Smith. And when Bill gets on the phone, it's, hey, this is such and such with this company. I need to buy this many radio spots over this many days at this rate. Do you have that? Or I need to buy this many TV spots, or I need to buy this big of a newspaper ad. And there's not the pressure of the sale. Yes. And you have that. You offer those same options.
Yes. And again, I've worked in marketing in this area as well, and there's so many names that and people that are good people to work with that you can help point businesses to.
What do you see and like you said, South Center's got everything going on. They have cable access TV shows and they have all kinds of stuff going on that are tools. What are some of the tools that maybe, we talked about marketing, we talked about the business plan and the personal aspect, but what are some tools that you have at your disposal that you can use to help these folks that maybe they just can't get anywhere else?
Well, that's a very good question, because we have industry reports that we can pull down and help a business. Like, we can see what the industry standard would be in the area, who your major competitors are going to be, what maybe is selling and what's not selling, how this business might work better if it works better online, if it works better as a storefront. So those reports are really nice to be able to get access to. And if you can get those for free through the SBDC, however, if you were to purchase something like that yourself, it could be very costly.
Right.
So that's definitely a tool that would be beneficial to any business to know. And
you and I talked about, programs to teach people to use different things. Do you also offer, so if somebody comes in and, you're going through the process and they say, okay, I really need help on creating spreadsheets, or I need help on Outlook. I need Excel help. I need Outlook help. I need this kind of stuff. I'm good on my product. It's the back end stuff that I'm really needing help with. Are there services you offer as well?
Yes. We're going to offer courses, and some courses are already available now in certain areas. Definitely, there's social media courses, there's Excel courses, there's Word courses, there's Outlook, like you said, desktop publishing. There's lots of courses to help you run those things in your business, so you wouldn't necessarily have to hire outside help while you're getting started.
Are you seeing, with COVID having pretty much run everything for the last 2 years, are you starting to see, as it starts to bury itself away and out of sight, out of mind kind of thing right now? I mean, we still have a few precautions, but for the most part, I think society is fed up and moving on.
Yes.
Do you see that in the business world as well? Are you seeing more applications, like more applicants coming in ready to go? I guess, did it slow down during COVID, or are the numbers that South Center is seeing of people who are now ready to say, okay, I'm ready to pull the trigger? Is it moving in that direction now? Are things starting to move a little more freely?
I think there's hope now, and more people are deciding that they're wanting to do a business now because they see the light at the end of the tunnel. But it did slow down for a little while during COVID.
Is everything that you offer when you do this, are people driving to Piketon, or is this something that some of it can be done through Zoom or online, or is everything in person when they're coming to talk to you, or is it a hybrid of both?
It's a hybrid. Okay. We will actually come to the person, so if they want to have a meeting here at the chamber, we can come here to the chamber and meet, or the library, or wherever. They've had people meet in coffee shops. We can do that as well, or we can do Zoom. We can do phone calls. I have a lot of people who work during the day and then want to contact me at night. So sometimes we do things through email and text messages.
Okay. So you're new in this position, like you said. You come from a marketing spot. What excites you the most about what you're doing now? Like, what do you look at your job and say, that's the thing. That's the one thing right there that excites me and gets me going every morning to show up and head to South Centers?
I'm going to brag on myself a little bit. One of the reasons I got my last position was because I had a former ad director tell someone that if I was starting a business today, I would hire Melanie. And that's how I got my job. And I thought that, I never thought of it that bad it that way, but that's true. I get really excited helping businesses grow. I get really excited sharing the word about what they do. And so that excites me about the whole thing, is being able to help them market, being able to help them get their plan and put it into words, and to help them really to be ready to move on and grow.
It is something exciting when you can sit down in the early stages and help someone work through a plan, or they come in and sit down. For us, I know that the one that sticks out to me is we had a member come in, and they said, we're opening on this day, and new business, and we need to get the word out. I said, okay, I've got you. I'll design a flyer and I'll post it on social media. We're not going to boost it or anything. We're just going to see where it goes, and we're just going to simply put some pictures of what you do and the date you're opening. And in 24 hours, it was like 18,000 organically reached people. And I was like, that makes me happy. And then when you go into their business on their first day, and their cases are empty because they've had so much business, it's a good problem. And then they call you when something pops up, and you're like, hey, this is what I would do. Don't get overly excited. This is the plan. Let's put this plan together. I remember they called me. I was in Walmart walking around grocery shopping, and I'm just talking on the phone, like trying to talk them through it. And so we came up with a plan, and the next week I went in and said, well, how'd it go? It went good. It was the right way to go. Had I not called you, I would have done this, and I would have been stuck with this. But we went your route. Could we have made a little more money if we'd have done it a little bit different? Probably. But we also took the chance of losing all of our profits for the day. So it's exciting to see those success stories. But it's almost like I have some members whose business I hold dear more, and it's going to sound weird, but like it's not like you consider their business yours, but it's like you're personally invested in their success.
Oh, definitely.
And so when they go through a hard time, or there's a public complaint, because social media is the devil, and in a lot of cases, and people can say things and never have to face the repercussions of what they're saying.
That's true.
And so they're slamming. And so you take, there's some times when you read something or something happens and it's like a gut punch. Like, these are my little babies, I've helped to try to get these folks going, and it is something to take pride in. You've put a lot of work into it. So, I look at those instances and I see exactly where you're coming from. Like, these are the moments. Like, these are the happy times. It's just like with our River Rec Festival. Like, for months we just stress, and, it's just one thing after another. You can be as prepared as you want, and something's going to happen. And I'll never forget, last year something happened, and my wife was bringing me dinner to the big tent, and she was handing me my food as someone told me something unexpected. And I'm talking, it was a financial swing of pretty significant proportions when you're watching every penny. And I just handed her the food back. I was like, I can't eat that. Not right now. Like, I literally just got punched in the gut. Like, now we overcame it. We came up with a plan and we overcame it. But, we're playing River Rec now. And it seems like there's always something. Something pops up and you're just like, okay, we're going to figure this out. We'll roll with it. We'll move on. But then at the end of River Rec, when the fireworks are going off and it's 10:30, 10:15 on the final night, and you look around and kids are staring up at the sky, looking at the fireworks, and, families are huddled together. And I literally was behind the stage last year. There's nobody I know around. I'm behind, everybody's looking at the river and the fireworks, and I'm right behind the stage. And I just sat down in a folding chair and just, not embarrassed to admit, just teared up. Like, we did it. Like, we made it through. It's over. We're going to clean it up tomorrow, and we're going to move on to the next thing.
There's always that flood of relief when
Yes.
it's been successful. Yes, I've been to a lot of grand openings like that, and you're like, wow, we pulled it off today.
Yep. Now, there's always the chance that those emotions are going to go the other direction, because if it falls flat on its face, I came into River Oak last year. I had 6 months. I started in January. In July, we're going. I started on January 4th, and on July 4th is it. And what a lot of people don't realize is you're setting off fireworks over the river. So you've got the Coast Guard. You're setting them off from West Virginia. So now you got the West Virginia Fire Marshal, the West Virginia Police, or West Virginia Fire Department, Police Chief. So you got all that on top of, contracts for entertainers, riders for entertainers, down to the color of hand towel that they want. The type of beverages that they need. You got runners running them all over back and forth to hotels and doing sound checks, and heaven forbid a speaker blows, or there's a lot of things that go into it to make it to where when you come in, it's it's an event.
Some people don't realize all the planning that goes into. We did a balloon launch one time, and we had to contact the EPA. We had to contact all of the airports in the area.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, you have to be able to let them know, and then you have to call them 1 hour before you launch your balloons, every airport, to let them know that even if you're, 100 miles away, they got to know that you're launching those balloons. You can't launch with strings, all these things that you learn. So, people don't realize all the stuff that goes into the background. Not all people in an event.
Yeah.
But, there's little things like that. Yeah,
but it's a joy when it comes to fruition.
Oh, definitely a joy when you, and it's amazing though, all the things you get to learn in the background. Like, did you know the EPA had to be called for a balloon launch?
Right. So at South Centers, I want to make sure that people understand, especially people who are getting ready to start a business or thinking about starting a business. It's something that we had to take into consideration here at the Chamber when we started, really pushing membership to new members. Not everyone's the same. The needs of individual businesses are different. What a car lot needs is different than what a flower shop needs, is different than what a coffee shop needs. You guys are not cookie cutters. You're not a cookie cutter program. So you can talk a little bit about how you determine, how you're going to work with different businesses based on kind of what they are, an individualized plan, so to speak.
Well, again, I'm still learning a lot at South Centers, but there's other counselors there that I can lean on and ask who've seen it all.
Right.
But the great thing is through Ohio State, there's all these wonderful lists of things that do help you. If you do not know what a business is, you can pull down a list, and it gives me a nice little map to follow to ask questions and to help a business, maybe a type I've never worked with. Okay. But again, my newspaper background, I've worked with so many different types of businesses, and yourself in radio, you've worked with lots of different businesses, and you get a little bit of feel for different things.
It does help
Yes.
to come in from a background where you were in these businesses before and you were advertising their strengths and working with them on marketing plans. So it does help to know a little bit about an industry. Without, you're never going to know more about a business than the business owner.
That's true.
But to be able to help them and guide them, and then also having that marketing side and the creative side to kind of know what works and what doesn't. I had a client come in yesterday, and they had just opened their new location. And he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think that your colors have been red and black since you've been open, and now they're not. And I just wonder why." And he said, "Well, the sign was already this color, and so we've basically vinyled over it to save, financially it just made sense." And so I said, "Did anybody else notice that, or is that just me?" He said, "Oh, no, we have some marketing people that may have noticed it as well." I said, "Well, it's not anybody else. You could drive by today, and you wouldn't notice. Like, you would never think, even with your marketing background, and be like, look at it and say, oh, they were red." You're never going to say that. But I just, because we've worked together so often on some projects, that I'm like, that's a different color. And those little things just, catch me off guard. But, or when you see a company's colors have always been green and they're wearing a blue shirt with their logo on it or something, it just throws me off. But it's those backgrounds that help you to help other people. And,
that's true.
And that goes a long way, as opposed to someone who maybe has the qualifications for a job of that, in that area, but has not been on the other side to be able to see kind of where they're coming from. We've not really talked about where South Centers is. If you're going toward Portsmouth on, it's 32, right?
Yes.
Out of Jackson.
Yes, it's about 20 minutes away from Jackson.
Yeah. Before you get to 23, where you would turn,
field.
it's right. You'll see the fishing ponds. It's on the left at the one stoplight, as I told you, that you want to miss going down through there. It's Ohio State University South Centers and the Small Business Development Center, Small Business Development Center. What is there a limit on the type of business? How big of a business?
What is small business? So I believe you have to have 500 employees or less.
Okay.
For that, and then there's also like how much money you would make per year as a maximum.
Gotcha. Okay.
To be considered a small business.
If someone is wanting to, they're ready. They feel they're ready. If they come to you and they're not ready, is it something where, I mean, obviously you're going to work to try to get them ready, but will you have an instance where can someone depend on, if they come to you and they're not ready, can they leave that meeting knowing that they're not ready?
Oh yes, yeah. We'll be honest with them, and
Okay.
we'll tell them that, gently, that
Right.
you may need to take these steps before you're ready to move on. There's
Okay.
these things that maybe a state requirement, might have to have a license, or
Right.
even like a vendor's license or something
Okay.
like that. You might have to purchase.
So, I guess in the last couple minutes here, if someone is looking for this type of assistance, they're looking to start their business, they need some help, how do they get in touch with you? What are the next, the steps where do they need to be? And then once they're where they need to be, how do they get in touch with you to move on to the next step?
There's several ways they can reach out to South Centers. One, they can go to the website.
Okay.
And there's a form you can fill out for counseling.
Okay.
And once you fill that out, it's submitted, and they will put you with the counselor that's in your area.
Okay.
And I work with Gallia, Jackson, and Lawrence right now.
Okay.
Counties. And you also can call, and they will send you to a counselor, and you can talk to somebody directly. Or you can reach out to your local Chamber of Commerce,
Mm-hmm.
or economic director boards, those type of things, and they normally have our contact information and can point you in the right way.
Is there anything, like if you had a checklist, or is there anything that before they call, is there a stage that they need to be at, or?
Nope, they can just have a great idea, give me a call, and I'll walk them through all that process.
Perfect. So if you're out there and you have got a business idea, there's a couple of things you normally do. You tell your friends first and get their opinion. But if you need someone who is going to be honest with you, confidential, and have your best interest in mind, because it doesn't benefit South Center one way or the other when a business comes in. Like, the ultimate goal is get the business ready and move it in. Like, there's no...
we see it as a benefit to the community.
Absolutely.
We want to see the community grow. We'd like to see new offerings in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Like coffee shops are awesome to have. Other things, I'm throwing that out there because I love coffee. But, just unique things that we haven't seen maybe to the area, that you might have a great idea, and that we can help you bring that to fruition.
Fantastic. Well, you have the information. What's the website?
Oh my goodness. I don't, I cannot tell
Google
you that off.
Ohio State
Google
University
it.
South Center, or if you need information, you can call the Chamber at 740-446-0596. Ask for Josh or Paige, and we'll take care of you. Melanie, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It went quick. It went really quick. Again, remember, you can catch these podcasts every Friday on our social media pages, or you can tune in to 93.1 WJEH FM every Sunday morning during the 8 o'clock hour. Until next week, we thank you for listening, and have a good one.